Humanity has always been fascinated by secrets. We are pattern-seeking creatures, driven by curiosity to understand the world. Sometimes the patterns we perceive point to something hidden. The allure of the unseen hand is a powerful narrative. It speaks to our desire for order, even if imposed by a clandestine group. Among secret societies, the Illuminati stands out. This name conjures images of global conspiracies and hidden agendas. But what is the truth behind this legend? Is it a genuine conspiracy, a relic of history, or a compelling story? We ponder our place in the cosmos and who holds the reins of power. The fascination is understandable. The concept of an all-powerful group offers a strange comfort. It suggests a plan, even if it's not our own. But as seekers of knowledge, we must ask, where does the evidence lead us? Does it point to a tangible organization, or to the power of myth itself? The quest to understand the Illuminati is more than just a dive into conspiracy. It's an exploration of how we interpret power, control, and the unknown. Before we delve deeper into this captivating subject, consider this. Our universe is vast, and the quest for knowledge is endless. Here on this channel we strive to illuminate the obscure, to question the unquestioned, and to explore the myriad mysteries that surround us. If you share this passion for understanding, if you too are driven by a desire to explore the unknown, then you found your intellectual home. We invite you to join our community of curious minds. By subscribing to this channel, you become part of an ongoing exploration. You'll get regular updates as we tackle new topics, unravel complex ideas, and present fascinating insights from various fields of knowledge. Every click of the subscribe button fuels our ability to bring you more content like this. Moreover, subscribing ensures you won't miss out on future investigations. We have a universe of topics planned, each designed to spark your intellect and challenge your perspectives. Now, with that said, let us return to the heart of our current mystery. Our story begins not in the shadowy corridors of global power, but in the heart of 18th century Europe. Specifically, we travel to Bavaria, a region deeply entrenched in tradition and religious authority. It was here on May 1, 1776, that a man named Adam Weishaupt founded a secret society. He called it the Order of Perfectibilists, later known as the Bavarian Illuminati. Weishaupt was a professor of canon law and practical philosophy at the University of Ingolstadt. He was a man of the Enlightenment, deeply influenced by its ideals of reason, secularism, and intellectual freedom. Weishaupt envisioned his order as a vehicle for spreading these Enlightenment ideals. He sought to create a society of like-minded individuals who would work to oppose superstition, prejudice, and injustice. The Illuminati, therefore, was conceived as a secretive organization, not for nefarious world domination, but to protect its members from persecution by these powerful institutions. The initial members were drawn primarily from the intellectual elite of Bavaria, professors, students, government officials, and even some clergy who were sympathetic to Enlightenment thought. The goal was not to seize power directly through revolution, but to subtly influence society from within, by placing enlightened individuals in positions of authority and shaping public opinion through education and reason. So, what were the core tenets of Adam Weishaupt's original Illuminati? At its heart, the order championed the power of human reason. They believed that through education and rational thought, humanity could overcome ignorance and superstition. This was a direct challenge to the prevailing dominance of religious dogma and unquestioned tradition that characterized much of 18th century European society. The Illuminati sought to liberate minds, encouraging critical thinking and independent inquiry. They envisioned a world where decisions were based on evidence and logic, rather than blind faith or inherited privilege. A key objective was the promotion of secularism. Weishaupt and his followers were critical of the immense political and social power wielded by the Church, particularly the Jesuits, whom Weishaupt viewed as arch-enemies of Enlightenment. The Illuminati advocated for a separation of church and state, believing that religious institutions should not dictate governance or suppress scientific and philosophical progress. They dreamed of a society where morality was derived from reason and ethics, rather than divine command alone. Ultimately, the illumination they sought was the enlightenment of humanity itself. Despite its secretive nature and lofty ideals, the Bavarian Illuminati's existence was relatively short-lived. The organization began to unravel due to a combination of internal strife and external pressure. Internally, disagreements arose between Weishaupt and other prominent members, particularly Baron Adolf von Nigge, who had been instrumental in expanding the order and refining its rituals by linking them more closely with Freemasonry. Nigge eventually grew disillusioned with Weishaupt's leadership style, which he perceived as overly dogmatic and controlling. The primary external threat came from the Bavarian authorities. As whispers and rumors about the secret society began to circulate, fear and suspicion grew among the ruling elite and the church. The Elector of Bavaria, Karl Theodor, was a conservative ruler who viewed any organization challenging the established order with extreme prejudice. In 1784, under pressure from conservative elements within his court and the clergy, Karl Theodor issued an edict banning all secret societies not explicitly authorized by the government. The government crackdown was swift and severe. Members of the Illuminati were exposed, lost their positions, and some were even exiled from Bavaria. By 1787, the Bavarian Illuminati as a functioning organization was effectively dismantled. How did a relatively small, short-lived Bavarian order dismantled in the late 18th century transform into the global super-conspiracy we hear about today? The seeds of the modern myth were sown almost immediately after the Illuminati's suppression. The published documents intended to discredit them were interpreted by some not as evidence of a failed local group, but as proof of a far-reaching, ongoing plot. Conservative writers and thinkers, particularly in the wake of the French Revolution, began to link the Illuminati to the revolutionary upheavals sweeping Europe. They saw the Illuminati's ideals of reason and anti-clericalism as the ideological fuel for these societal disruptions. Figures like Abbé Augustin Barruel and John Robison played a pivotal role. Their books were widely read and translated, spreading the idea of an Illuminati conspiracy across Europe and even to the newly formed United States. A significant part of the modern Illuminati myth revolves around the interpretation of symbols. Conspiracy theorists often point to various signs and emblems in popular culture, corporate logos, and even national symbols as evidence of the Illuminati's hidden influence. Perhaps the most famous of these is the Eye of Providence, the all-seeing eye often depicted within a triangle or atop a pyramid. This symbol, which appears on the Great Seal of the United States and consequently on the $1 bill, is frequently cited as definitive proof of Illuminati control over the American government and financial system. However, the historical context of such symbols is often more complex and less sinister than alleged. The Eye of Providence has a long history as a symbol of divine omniscience and benevolent oversight, used by various religious and artistic traditions long before the Bavarian Illuminati existed. The tendency to see Illuminati influence in every triangle or eye reflects a human psychological trait known as apophenia, the perception of meaningful patterns in random or unrelated data. When you're looking for a specific pattern, you're more likely to find it, even if it's not truly there. When we step back and attempt to weigh the evidence for the continued existence of the Illuminati as a global power, the scales tip heavily towards skepticism. Proponents of the modern Illuminati conspiracy often point to the persistence of powerful elites, global financial institutions, and seemingly coordinated international policies as evidence of a hidden hand. They might argue that major world events, from wars to economic crises, are too complex to be accidental and must therefore be orchestrated. However, the arguments against their continued existence, at least in the form of the grand, all-encompassing conspiracy, are substantial. Firstly, there is a profound lack of concrete, verifiable proof. Despite countless claims, no credible, direct evidence has ever emerged to substantiate the idea of a continuous organization stemming from Weishaupt's group controlling world affairs. Historical records clearly show the Bavarian Illuminati was suppressed and disbanded in the late 18th century. So we've journeyed from 18th century Bavaria to the digital age, tracing the story of the Illuminati. We've seen a real, historical group with Enlightenment ideals, its suppression, and its subsequent transformation into a global myth of immense proportions. The historical Illuminati of Adam Weishaupt is a documented fact. Its goals were radical for its time-promoting reason, challenging established religious and monarchical power, and seeking human perfectibility. Its demise, too, is historically recorded, a result of internal divisions and a swift crackdown by Bavarian authorities who feared its influence. The modern concept of the Illuminati, however, is a different entity altogether. It's a tapestry woven from threads of historical fact, amplified by centuries of speculation, fear, and the human tendency to seek patterns and explanations for complex events. This narrative speaks to a deep-seated desire to believe that someone, somewhere is in control, that there's a hidden order behind the apparent chaos of the world. Ultimately, the question of whether the Illuminati, as depicted in modern conspiracy theories, truly exists, remains a matter of belief, rather than proven fact. The available evidence strongly suggests that the original organization was extinguished,